Hey everybody, and welcome back to Split Couch Games. I'm Scott.
And I'm Ben.
And this is podcast number 22.
22.
It's kind of a exciting podcast. We have a very interesting topic to cover, which is basically deals with copyright claiming YouTube videos, which is, somewhat near and dear to our hearts because, we have a YouTube channel. Right, Ben?
What? No. Is that where these have been going?
Anyway, we do have a special announcement. We're going to be postponing, I don't want to say canceling all Let's Plays, but we're going to be postponing all Let's Plays for a little while. There may be a Let's Play that sneaks in here and there if you guys ask for it or we feel the need. But for the most part, we're going to be adding a second podcast each week. So if you enjoy our podcast, then you'll be happy to hear that there will be another one.
Yeah.
So there will always be, as usual, there's a podcast on Monday, there will be a podcast on Wednesday, and Ben and I will alternate a solo video on Fridays, which is usually at this point Skyrim for Ben and Gears of War related for me, but I'm looking for other topics as well.
Yeah. And I may end up doing other stuff in the future, Like I've thought about doing like a analyzed critique of, Mass Effect Andromeda or something.
Ooh.
It just simply to like kind of look at it and be like, this is why people think it failed, but this is why it actually failed type of thing.
Sure.
So if you're interested in that, like comment below, let me know. I might actually start working on it instead of just keeping it in my dome.
Yeah. Next time Skyrim on the Xbox goes on sale, I'm probably going to buy it because I got a few ideas for videos, for mod videos myself. This is the first that Ben's ever heard of it, and he's both scared and excited.
I mean, I think when it comes to you doing those, if you have any questions about modding and everything, I'm just going to point to my videos and be like, watch them. You'll learn some things.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Anyway. So that's pretty much that. You guys are going to hear us talk about that a lot. Again, like eventually the Let's Plays are going to come back, but they're basically, it's too much time for us and not enough engagement from them is the long and short of it. You guys, like our audience seems to enjoy our other videos more.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's really, just view count isn't high enough, and if the view count gets to, like an acceptable number in our eyes, typically there's little to no community engagement and retention time is low, so it's kind of something that we're looking at, and it's not super worth our effort at the time. Yeah. And that's mainly because we both work full-time jobs and do this on the side, so...
Yep. So we got to go with what you guys enjoy, and it's not that we don't enjoy the podcast, we do enjoy making Let's Plays, but just too much time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the podcast.
Okay.
So,
do you want to introduce the topic, or do you want me to introduce the topic? You have the phone up, so you're going to introduce the topic.
Yeah.
Ben's going to spit some hot fire in this episode, guys.
Okay, so the topic is based off of a article that was put up on Kotaku earlier today, which was a Negative World of Tanks video gets taken down after developer threatens copyright claim. Now, because it's Kotaku, we all know that's an inflammatory article title just to get you to click on it. There's actually more to the story, which Scott has filled me in on. And my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that this guy was maybe not necessarily being paid, but he was like part of like a special community within Wargaming.
Yeah, it was a community outreach thing where basically really dedicated players created YouTube videos discussing the game in depth, and they got early access to content so that they could look at it and give information out to the community.
Yeah. And that being the case, they obviously have to adhere to specific rules and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And that is kind of a topic for later on. But, some of the things that he was quoted as saying in this video is, fuck Wargaming, fuck their terrible way of making these premium tanks lately, and fuck this premium tank in particular. Now, I don't know. I didn't watch the video. Like, I guess he reposted it somewhere. I don't know if that one's been taken down as well. But I don't really know what exactly his issue was with the tank or their business
it's in the
model or
article,
anything, but...
and it's that there are no weak points in the tank. So so you have to, in order to basically beat it, you have to either have that tank, which costs $80 to fully upgrade it, or have special armor piercing rounds that don't need a weak point, which also costs money. So yeah, like I understand his critique, like his criticisms, like it's
Sure.
kind of shitty.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of sounds like World of Tanks has changed quite a bit since I last played it, because although those rounds, like, of ammunition did cost, I guess, I think it was technically silver, or was it gold? I don't know. It was some sort of, like, premium currency, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. Like, buying it in big bulks, stacks, did used to cost that premium currency, but I feel like you could take a much smaller stack into any fight using the in-game earned currency. At least I thought that's how it used to be.
Yeah,
I don't know
sure.
if that's the way it is anymore. I haven't played the game in forever because...
Yeah, I would assume that is the case, but as someone, you know, like, free-to-play games are always in, like, this weird place where they have to, or they don't have to, but they have to try and balance what people pay for and what people don't pay for. So yeah, you're allowed to bring in ammunition from a from a free-to-play source, basically, where if you play the game, you're in game currency. But it's always going to be faster to just purchase everything with money.
Sure.
And that's where, you know, World of Tanks, I don't think, has ever hidden the fact that it's a pay-to-win game. I think they don't obviously advertise as such, but I don't think anyone has any, like...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong. Because, I mean, again, obviously it's been a very long time since I've played it. It's probably changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like calling it pay-to-win is a little unfair, because I feel like because of the way it plays and, like, the team dynamic that's inherently involved with it, it's pay-to-win if you're playing solo, sure.
So pay-to-win generally means that if you're able to pay to increase your power, it is pay-to-win at that point, because you're paying for an advantage regardless of your skill level. So, like...
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to get bracketed in with people of similar power levels. Like, they have this, like, tank rating system built into the game.
Sure.
That, like, when you hit, like, X number of power or whatever, then it essentially will only group you with people in that same range. Whether it was earned through purchasing or hard work. It doesn't matter.
Sure. But I think, like, it's still, like, common definition of pay-to-win, I think it still fits in there. I think, like, the reason why, like, that's probably the reason why it remains popular is because a lot of pay-to-win games don't actually last long. But World of Tanks has been around for 7-8 years,
something like that. Because I mean,
a ridiculously long time. So
yeah, because I know it was on PC for a while, and then it came out on Xbox 360 and then Xbox One.
Oh, there was a 360 version. That's right.
Yeah, and I remember playing that back in, like, 2012.
Yeah, so it's been out for like 10 years, give or take.
Yeah.
If we were smart, we would do the research. I don't have my phone on me, so let me just hold up.
You don't have your phone, but
don't
computers. Whatever shall you do?
Don't mind me. Where's the internet? August 12th, 2010. So 7 years.
Okay. But so the reason that we're talking about this has nothing to do really with how the game plays out or anything like that, as much as it does the fact that the video was taken down after the developer was threatening a copyright strike. And personally, if you ask me, that should never ever happen. I understand that, whether he signed a contract or simply agreed to a set of rules, it doesn't matter. I personally don't think that taking down a video should ever be allowed based solely on the fact that the developer doesn't like your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand that, essentially, like, we're talking about someone who is supported by and given special privilege, maybe even by Wargaming, but there should never be any contract anywhere that says you cannot talk poorly of a company that you work for or are partnered with or anything like that. Like, there should never be any case whatsoever that you are giving up your constitutional rights as an American citizen. Was he American? I suppose that's an important part of this, but
I'm not sure.
But I mean, as an American, I don't think that should ever be the case. Because I mean, I would understand, like, if he was accusing Wargaming of, like, illicit business practices or something like that. Mm-hmm. But he was just simply stating his distaste for how they are operating lately. Yeah. And how the tank specifically in question functions and everything. Like, it seemed like all of his opinions were more of a poorly voiced critique of how they are doing things, rather than, accusing them of doing things that are illegal or anything like that.
Yeah. So I think, and it's not explicitly stated in any of the articles that I read about it, but I think that what happened was that the video occurred, or like the video was put out, Wargaming saw the video and decided to end their professional relationship with the YouTuber, which I guess at some point we should probably use his name. Again, I don't have my phone with the article pulled up.
Fucking slacker.
Sorry. And then then he was removed from the
Sir Foch? It's
probably
Foch.
I'm gonna guess Foch, judging by, because they, like, Wargaming even, like, chimed in and said, hey, we know that, like, he sometimes has vulgar language and stuff, but we appreciate his community work and everything, but he just took it too far this time. But yeah, basically the video came out, they cut him from the program, and then because they cut him from the program, he no longer had access to the early access stuff that he did the video on, and I think that that's partially why the video was copyright, or why they could copyright strike it. I'm not I'm just kind of like thinking like some legal loopholes that they could try to like pull it down. But yeah, like their biggest thing was that it was they wanted it down because it was defaming them as a it was defamation of character for the company.
But I mean, I know that, like,
it's a huge
from a legal
area.
from like a legal definition standpoint, like, technically what he was saying does qualify as defamation. Mm-hmm. But as an outside observer, nothing he said makes me think poorly of Wargaming. At least not from a standpoint where I'd, like, swear off ever playing any of their games. I mean, video game development is video game development. Every company everywhere is going to make bad design decisions, whether it was intentionally or not. Like, maybe the fact that it doesn't have any weak points was a bug. And I don't know if you know for sure that this was early access stuff, but if it was, then that's kind of the point of the early access thing, is to help.
I think they actually like give them like 3D models of it and stuff to look at and use as assets. Judging from the article, like, they were able, like, they pulled screenshots from the video and there's like a 3D model of it and everything. But I think, like, I get why Wargaming ended ties with this YouTuber, because he definitely crossed a line. I don't think it was full on defamation, I don't think the video should have been removed. I think that he was doing a very adamant critique. Like he obviously enjoys the game. He makes YouTube content for it. He's a huge part of the community.
Sure.
So like I think, and like when when you're passionate about something, and the developer messes with it, I'll get angry if the coalition did something with Gears that I didn't like. I would be like, why are you doing this? Map rotations in Gears of War 4, for instance, I'm getting real mad about that. But I think that I do think that you have to be careful when you are actually in a relationship with them. Like if the coalition had said, hey, we're going to put you as a part of our community outreach and you're going to do informational videos for Gears of War updates, I'd be like, okay, like I'm going to have to act professionally during those.
Sure.
Because, that's...
But I mean, see, the problem I have with it is at this point, what we're basically like looking at here is where does the fault lie? Mm-hmm. Because realistically, as a company, if you don't want honest, maybe, poorly worded, but honest opinions about your stuff, then you shouldn't be giving that access out. Plain and simple. Because, like it says in the article, that these community members are allowed to critique the the content and everything. They're allowed to critique Wargaming, but they expect a certain amount of decorum when they do that. Mm-hmm. And I can understand if they let him go from the program because they just were like, you kind of crossed the line, like, too much swearing, all that kind of stuff. Like, that would be one thing.
Yeah.
But to sit there and essentially copyright strike his video and everything, or threaten to do that, is crossing a line as a company. Because if you ask me, there should be at no point where that company can be like, you know what, we don't like your opinion and we're going to silence it. Because if you ask me, once someone is given access, the ball is out of your court as a company. Like, unless it is they signed an NDA and they're not allowed to talk about it and then they talk about it, that's a different story. Mm-hmm. But if you give someone access and you're like, hey, make videos, give us your opinion, that kind of thing, you should not be allowed to silence anybody's opinion. Yeah. Because at that point, like, you are removing any sort of, like, honestly, the fact that they did this is way worse in my eyes than anything he could have said. Because not only is he and his opinions getting more attention now than what it probably would have otherwise, but now I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, okay, well, if I hear anything about Wargaming, can I honestly trust that opinion? Because at this point, I'm thinking that a lot of the opinions about Wargaming are going to be so curated that all trust in any of that is now out the window.
Yeah.
Because they have clearly essentially said, if we don't like your opinion, we're going to shut it down. And that's not right. Like, that should never be the case. I don't care if you are, in his words, not mine, Jim fucking Sterling, or if you are some YouTuber with only 40 subs. Mm-hmm. No company should ever be able to tell you you're not allowed to put your opinion out there. Yeah. Because at that point, like, it's no longer freedom of press, freedom of speech, anything like that. At that point, it is, we have more money than you, and we disagree with you, so we're telling you to shut up, otherwise we're going to cause you one hell of a nightmare.
Yeah.
And that's wrong.
I think the biggest holdup I have is that they threaten a copyright strike, which I don't think is the right thing to do.
Well, they shouldn't do anything. Like, well, I mean, like I said, once you offer out those assets,
sure,
and you are asking people to cover the content and give opinions.
Sure.
You as a company have zero control over that now.
Well, I think that
if you don't want people giving honest opinions, don't release the content. It's plain and simple. That's what Bethesda does, basically.
But it's not
they don't allow reviews to come out before release dates.
But it's not the review though. Like that's not what they have the problem with. The problem is how he reviewed it and the words that he chose to use.
Sure.
And
which at that point remove him from the program, fine. But you cannot take down the video.
You can't
or do anything to force him to.
You can't. Like you could make the argument that it is hate speech that he was using. I
know that you can make that argument, and that's part of my problem, is that defamation is so vague.
Yeah.
And I mean, the worst comment in terms of potential defamation that they have in this article is, quote, "We are greedy fucks at Wargaming, yay."
Yeah.
That is the worst thing in there.
Well, that's the worst thing.
Everything else is a simple statement of opinion.
That is okay. So first of all, that is all that the Kotaku article has said. Reading more of the article, and I guess my phone just decided not to show me the bottom half of the article. Apparently, they're saying that Surfhawk is no longer part of the program, but he's completely allowed to continue making wargaming footage, and we're not going to shut him down for making content or anything. But at the end it says, if those videos continue to include hate speech and homophobic slurs, we'll take the necessary and appropriate action.
Okay.
So that leads me to believe that maybe there was a lot more in there that Kotaku just didn't.
Yeah.
Publish?
I mean that's
obviously
different then. Because I mean, because if you stray into using hate speech or anything like that, whether it is sexist, anti-religion in any way, anti-race or anything like that, then that is a completely different story. But I mean, if you don't cross any lines like that and you just happen to have a vulgar opinion, cursing a lot, but nothing that's necessarily offensive in general, nothing that can be construed as hate speech, then a company should never have the right to be able to take down that video.
Sure.
But I mean, even I don't know. I mean, it's still such a fine line to dance.
Yeah.
Because technically, if you ask me, someone can say whatever they want. That doesn't mean I agree with a person. That doesn't mean I agree with the way they think or the way they talk.
Yeah.
But within reason, they should be able to say what they want when it comes to reviewing products and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody should be able to just walk up to someone on the street and start, cursing at them, tell them they're gonna murder them or some shit. That totally different story.
You have a problem when I do
that? Yeah. I think it's gonna get you in trouble one of these days.
I'll keep that in mind.
But I don't know. Because I feel like at this point the conversation is steering more into the what's okay and what's not, how can we have free speech if we also don't want people being total assholes? And I think that's really the most appropriate way to put it is, don't be a fucking asshole, and I don't have a problem if you talk.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a messy topic, obviously. Yeah. And kind of going back to what you were saying, the Kotaku article does show the whole thing on your phone, but their website for mobile is designed terribly, and I thought it was starting another article, but it's just a sponsored placement for one of their other articles
Okay.
in the middle of that article.
That explains why I didn't keep scrolling.
Yeah, because it's like you hit what looks like another title image and another title, so you're like, oh, that's done. No, it's just bad website design.
All right. Well, that's Ben's review of Kotaku's website.
Mobile website specifically. Don't advertise your own articles in the middle of another article. That's just silly. Or if you do, put like a big box around it.
Yeah.
And not like a very light gray sponsored right above the image.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that my biggest thing is I think that like threatening a copyright strike was the wrong thing to do because I don't feel like it was a copyright issue. I think it was almost in a way like a larger issue.
Yeah, and like that's what I was saying is because like kick him out of the program, sure, but I don't personally feel like there's ever anything that you could say that could legally justify taking down that video. Unless he is outright threatening someone or he is inciting groups to
if they're
potential violence
I would
or something
say,
with his words.
I mean, I would say that like yeah, if there's a because again, it's a very messy topic, but like if there's any sort of like being this community member, I don't know if like they allow you or like they give you like a special like intro that says, hey, you're part of the Wargaming super elite people or whatever.
Yeah,
because if you like if there's any amount of branding that you use on those videos,
that was given to you, then
it definitely gives
credence to that.
Yeah, like,
but I feel like it shouldn't be a take down the video. It should be more of a edit the video so that it's removed, re-upload it for all I care. Just remove your affiliation with us from it.
And again, I think it goes into like what I think every time we talk about copyright, it's the same thing where it's just update the fucking laws, like make it like
update
actually
the fucking laws and for copyright. And when it comes to freedom of speech or freedom of press or whatever you might want to label this as, don't be a fucking asshole and we're fine.
Yeah,
like
it's just I don't know.
It's just plain and simple. Like I don't know how to put it.
Yeah, I want like I don't even care if like this particular situation, like I don't really care if Wargaming wants to take the video down. Like I feel like I'm in the middle, but I think like they have reason to want it, or to like they have a legitimate reason to want it taken down, because I don't think it's about the criticism. I think it's about how they were criticized,
the language and everything.
Yeah. And I think that there needs to be a way for companies to deal with that without saying, ooh, copyright.
Yeah.
And maybe that comes from YouTube. Maybe that comes from lawmakers. I don't know. But it really frustrates me when, like, really the only course of action a lot of companies have is to say, hey, copyright strike. And then they just, like, finger gun their way out the door.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I don't know.
That doesn't mean anything. Like a copyright strike these days doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, it's obviously a messy issue, and there's clearly more to the story than what either of us originally perceived.
Developing story right here on Split Couch Games podcast number 22. But yeah, I think I don't know. I just let us know your thoughts on copyright law, or like whether you think that Wargaming was in the right or wrong, whatever the case may be. Let us know in the comments. We love to hear your guys' thoughts. And let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about in the future, any specific topics related to the industry. Or what have you. Ben, you can't zoom in.
Well, because at the bottom of the Kotaku article, the last thing I'm going to say about it, there is a quote from the YouTuber that says, "Do I regret making it?" referring to the original video. Hell no. Did I lose CC status? You betcha. Do I care? Not really. Did Wargaming threaten to copyright claim the video and future videos of any Wargaming product? Yes. And then he provides screenshots. But I can't zoom in on the screenshots. It's not letting me. There we go. And they specifically call out it's because of the fuck Wargaming parts. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, and they basically say that, they basically say that if he doesn't remove the video, that he's going to get a copyright strike, and if he posts any other future videos that are negative towards Wargaming, that they are going to copyright strike those as well. So yeah. I'm going to place blame on Wargaming for this one. Because at this point it sounds like straight up, we don't like your opinion.
That almost sounds like, I feel like that one sounds like the community manager might have just done a bad job. Like,
regardless.
But yeah,
like,
I don't know. It's all just so dumb. Just, Anyway, let us know your thoughts. We'll see you guys next time on Play Couch Games.
Bye.
Bye. It's all just so dumb, Ben. I hate it.
It really is.
It's just so dumb.